You're listening to Better at English, episode 39. Hi, English learners. Lori here, your teacher from betteratenglish.com. In this episode of Real English Conversations, you'll hear part 4 of my conversation with Kyla. Up until now, we've been talking about the book Daily Rituals by Mason Curry. But in this part of the conversation, we digress and talk about dealing with distractions and interruptions when we're trying to work. That's one of the fun things about conversations. You never know where they're going to go. What kind of things do you find distracting when you're trying to work or study? How do you feel when you get interrupted when you're trying to concentrate? Do you think you have anything in common with Kyla and me? Listen to the conversation and find out. If you want to read along as you listen, you can download the full transcript, including a bonus vocabulary lesson, at betteratenglish.com/transcripts. After the conversation, I'll be back with 3 questions you can use for speaking practice. Okay, let's get on with the conversation. Yeah, it's, I think, really important. I found that it kind of made me feel a little bit better about myself, because I find that if I'm going to sit down and do something, maybe not necessarily creative, but that really requires my full attention and concentration, I cannot handle distractions and interruptions.
Yeah.
At all.
And they've even done studies where I think when you're trying to do something, every distraction, it takes you about 15 minutes to get back to what you were doing. Like, that's the amount of time it takes your brain to handle. There's been a distraction. What was I doing before? Where was I? Oh, yes, here we are.
Yeah.
Now we're going again. And so that having that sort of place to make sure that no distractions bother you.
Yeah, it's really important. And I think nowadays, people with families and not to mention just our little devices going off and pinging us all the time. It's getting harder and harder to create that block of undisturbed, focused, uninterrupted time for yourself, I think.
It is. It really is. And I was, Google just had their, just released their news on their sort of their new gadgets, the new Android, the new apps they're coming up with.
Okay.
And one of the things they're doing is they're trying to integrate all your electronic devices so that if somebody calls you on your phone, it will alert you on your laptop.
No.
And I was just like, that's a terrible idea.
I think it's a horrible idea.
Like, in order to get anything done, you pretty much have to disconnect from the internet if it's not required for what you're doing.
Yeah, totally. And, I've really come full circle when it comes to things like the internet and being connected and social media. I mean, in the beginning, back in, let's say 10 years ago, when it was still fresh and new and people were talking about Web 2.0, it was this fantastic thing. And now I find, oh my God, I don't want all that distraction and all those little tiny calls to my attention throughout the day, that I've almost become anti-internet, which is, I mean, there's some kind of irony there, because I also am running a website, and of course I want people to look at my website and listen to the podcast, so it's kind of almost hypocritical, but
no, it's, and same, I mean, for and I'm sort of like, I'm a great social person in person, but I'm not entirely sold on this social networking business, but I'm a musician. So now I have all these, different websites and, the various platforms for getting your music out. And I kind of have to be like, okay, I really need to schedule some time a day to actually go and use these things. It's a great tool to, exactly kind of get your music or your podcasts or whatever it is you're doing out to the world. But at the same time, if you spend all your time on that, you kind of lose the time it is required to actually make the art that you're making in the first
Exactly.
place.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself.
We actually, the album that I recorded with my band a couple years ago, we'd had we recorded the whole thing about 3 times, and I just wasn't happy with it. There were things that we just weren't happy with the first couple of times, and all recording at home. And we finally got it recorded, but we moved into a new apartment and just decided not to get internet until the album was done. And it really did work out well. And it's funny because I worked full time, and we watched Doctor Who every night, which is like an hour and a half long. Like, I was like, I don't understand how we recorded an album, because I was working 40 hours a week and we watched TV every night. But at some point between the 40 hours and the TV, there was about 2 hours in which I was just plugged in and recording guitar. So,
Oh, cool.
but it was kind of, yeah, there was absolutely no outside distraction. And we still needed to, I mean, at that time, well, and still, like, email is the way you contact me for the most part. So I still had to be going, like, I had to take about, 45 minutes to go to a cafe or the library to use the Wi-Fi to do those things. But it was really like, this is the time of day in which the internet is attached. And, it kind of worked out like, yeah, it was almost like, here's a schedule for this. And then the rest of my day didn't have any of those distractions. And it's
Right.
like, how come I can't do that when I have internet in the house?
When you were using that little block of time every day to do your internet things, did you notice that you were more efficient, or that you got more done?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
Because
Because it was like, I would have a list. I'd be like, okay, these are the things I need to do on the internet. So, check this email, make this post, yeah, and I did. It was like, here's my time. I don't want to be here too long. Um, yep, I definitely.
Yeah, 'cause I can't remember who it was. I heard someone else talking about that or reading about it, who was basically saying the same thing, had trouble with their internet at home, and was like forced to just go out to a cafe or something once a day to do all the emailing, and would just like bang through all these, everything, get it
Yeah.
all answered in like half an hour. Whereas when he had his great internet at home, he could spend forever on the internet and not get anything done.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So there's something about that idea of putting some kind of limitation on yourself, or knowing in advance that it really is just a discrete amount of time that you have to do something.
Yeah.
That kind of forces you to really get down to it and get it done.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is turning into quite the conversation.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're somehow still on topic, but not at all talking about the book.
Yeah, but no, that's the way things go.
That's the way things
kinda
go.
cool. Did
Although
you? No, go
you
ahead.
go ahead. No,
No,
you.
no. You. Go ahead.
No, you.
No, I've already forgot what I was going to say. So that's all for this time. I hope you've enjoyed the conversation. Remember that it's important to practice speaking if you want to improve your English fluency. Here are 3 discussion questions that you can use to practice with your teacher, tutor, or your language exchange partner. 1. What's the biggest internet distraction for you, and how do you deal with it when you need to work? 2. How do you feel about constantly getting email and social media notifications on your phone or computer? 3. Do you think you work more productively when you have a set block of time? Why or why not? Make sure to download the transcript so you can read along to check your understanding. The transcript also has notes about the language we use in the conversation and explains a lot of the vocabulary. You can find it at betteratenglish.com/transcripts. Until next time, keep on practicing your English. In fact, you can practice right now by leaving me a voice message or joining the conversation on the Better at English Facebook page. You can find all the ways to get in touch at betteratenglish.com/contact. Bye for now.